Overall summary is just hold on, be patient,
pretty much.
Don't mess it up,
Yeah.
and if you can, build something important and do it with a mission.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's the fastest moving industry most of us had ever seen until AI came along, and now it's multiplied the whole thing.
Yeah, so that's normal though. Every new industry is going to be faster than the previous one. So internet develops so much faster than traditional industries. But with blockchain now we have internet. So we can develop so much faster than internet companies. So I think Binance is probably the first, at the time, the first company to reach $1 billion in profits, from startup to $1 billion in profit. But that's because we had the internet and then we had the blockchain. And then AI companies are now post a blockchain. So now if they do it well, they can easily monetize. They can easily use distributed token economics. And they should be able to grow much faster.
Yeah, I think OpenAI got to 100 million users in 3 weeks or something stupid.
Yeah, a few days, yeah.
Unbelievable,
yeah.
unbelievable.
Raoul Pal answers questions concerning the macro landscape of today without hesitation. He calmly argues that we're in the early stages of a new explosive cycle, drawing on decades of experience managing financial markets. Whether it's global liquidity movements, stocks, or cryptocurrency, Raoul is still unconditionally optimistic. He recognized opportunity in the ruthless bear markets of 2022 and 2018. He doubled down at the height of the world's hysteria. He is now more optimistic than ever as indications of institutional interest rise and monetary easing resumes. This isn't wishful thinking. Rather, it's the outcome of careful research, the identification of historical trends, and a thorough comprehension of international capital movements. If you're intrigued by bold predictions and deep financial insights, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more engaging content. Thank you for your support and enjoy the video.
I'm always bullish.
Me too.
So if you ask me at the deepest winter in 2019, I'm bullish. 2022, 2023, I was bullish. And if you ask me at the peak, I'm bullish, and then the market goes down, have a correction. It's very hard to time the market.
Yeah.
So far, the markets go on 4-year cycles, but it's very hard to tell, if this one is going to be shorter or longer, etc. So, but I think if we take a long view, we're still early.
And also what we know about state-level adoption.
Yeah.
Asset management adoption, there is a lot of big players coming in, and that feels like that's a this cycle thing where people start.
Yeah, so actually on this one, I think what we've seen is that this cycle so far has been ETFs.
Yeah.
So U.S. institutional money going to ETFs, and those money go to Bitcoin because the Bitcoin ETF is the biggest. So in that regard, Ethereum didn't go up that much, right? Because the money's kind of stuck with Bitcoin. But what's good for Bitcoin is good for other crypto. Eventually, the money will disperse. When they're in an ETF, they usually take longer because the institutions for them to go from Bitcoin to Ethereum to other altcoins will take a bit longer. But what we've seen, and I still believe that 100%, is Bitcoin is usually the first crypto that people interact with when they come to crypto. That's the first one they learn. That's the most stable. That's the most decentralized, etc. And that's the biggest market cap. But once the money is in crypto, they will eventually explore other things, right? So it will come. So I think we're still quite early. I think we're still in. If we go by 4-year cycles, it should be end of this year. Right. But we don't know for sure.
And do you think because of where we are in the network adoption, that growth has slowed down yet in Bitcoin, or do you think we're actually early? Because there's an argument or discussion going on where we are on the adoption curve and our returns coming down. I don't think they are, but what do you think?
I don't think they are. I think we're just getting started. So I think right now there's a handful of countries that's talking to me about blockchain adoption. And most other countries, I don't see anything going on. So out of 200 countries, even there's 12 countries that are just starting, right? So US is just starting. So ETFs is only the last, a few months, right? So everything's just starting. I think people, when they invest, they're very impatient, right? So of course, when I invest, I want to see my money 10x tomorrow. Why not, right? But the market doesn't work like that. So I think if you're chasing things that are against how this world works, you're going to be always disappointed. Right? So basically, you're chasing something that doesn't make sense, and if you chase too hard, then it's gonna backfire. You're gonna lose money. But I think in this world, we gotta understand how the world works. Money takes time to build, and what's good for Bitcoin is good for crypto, and you will filter to other things. So and it will take time. As long as we understand the right time horizons, then you can set your expectations correctly, and then everything will make sense.
So your overall summary is just hold on, be patient,
Pretty much.
don't mess it up,
Yeah.
and if you can, build something important and do it with a mission.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what about the kind of strategic reserves idea as well? Because that's the hot topic people are seeing happening. Talk us through that and what you're hearing.
There's a few countries who are extremely advanced on that topic. I think Bhutan, I believe His Majesty King of Bhutan is actually in the city today. He's an early crypto adopter. He's a very smart guy. They have excess energy, clean energy, hydro energy. So they've been mining Bitcoin for years.
Yeah,
so they have billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin for a very small country. Now they've added Ethereum and BNB to their national reserve. So the early adopters are moving forward. Based on public information, U.S. seems to be using holding, at least no longer selling the Bitcoin. You know, some of the OGs like us actually kind of hope that governments will sell their Bitcoin so that other guys can buy them cheaply. But, you know, with this U.S. administration, they're very business savvy. So they understand what's valuable. So now they figure that out. With the U.S., with one of the world's largest economy holding Bitcoin now, or making a crypto reserve, other countries are forced to do it because the later you do it, the more expensive your crypto will be.
Additionally, CZ pauses to reflect on Binance's early years following its 2017 launch. He had a huge idea at the time to contribute to the development of a decentralized international financial system. He freely acknowledges that not everything went as planned, even if a lot of things went smoothly. Binance had to act swiftly to stay ahead of the crypto business, which expanded even more quickly than he anticipated. He notes that artificial intelligence is currently surpassing cryptocurrency as the fastest growing tech industry. CZ isn't shocked, though. He views it as an inherent aspect of development. Every innovation wave builds upon its predecessor. To remain up to date on the most recent developments in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and the digital economy, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications.
So so I think we are talking with many countries on advising them how to set up a strategic reserve, and also like even very simple stuff, very basic fundamental stuff like what wallet solutions to use. Do you use a professional custody solution, or do you use your own cold wallets? Do you have enough expertise to build that kind of infrastructure, etc. So for most countries, most countries starting amount are not as big as U.S. Right? U.S. have like 200,000 Bitcoins or something. For most other countries, when they hold much smaller amount, we actually just recommend them to use a professional custody solution that's multi-sig, right? So no single person can move the money. When they build up to a certain large amount, then they should move to their own cold storage solution. So there's a lot of discussions along those lines. Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. What are you seeing people building? Are they grasping the opportunity yet?
To be honest, I think they're all very early stage. I think crypto so far has not expanded beyond trading. But this also represents an opportunity. So right now, RWA is quite new. It's growing, but it's still finance related. It's still like sort of tokenizing real world assets, etc. DeSci or decentralized social media hasn't really taken off yet. There's a number of really interesting attempts that we're looking at, but when I talked about the government solutions, I think that's another area that most likely can take off. And that's not finance related, right? So those are just pure blockchain for efficiency and for transparency. For example, land title rights. In many countries, they don't have very good systems. Even in Japan, they still use a piece of paper with a scratch-off code to verify you own that piece of land. And if you lose that piece of paper, it's actually quite difficult to replace or to get it back. So. And in other parts of in Africa, there's many land you don't know who it belongs to. So, and also even in countries like U.S., where there is fairly mature record keeping, but the record keeping is done manually, and the local municipal office keeps that record, and it's not digitized. So when you try to buy a piece of land, you don't know the history of that land. You don't have data, so then you cannot price it, and then you have low liquidity. So there's all of these issues which can be addressed, and we are actually investing in a company that's solving this problem. We recently invested in Sign, which is another project that does digital decentralized IDs, and they are building layer 2s for governments, etc. So I'm pushing them really hard. So there's a lot of interesting solutions being built.
I mean, it's a strange world where we may not be the profit drivers, we may not be the economic engine. They'll come from the AI.
Absolutely. I think that day is coming. Like with AI, so far in our world, population is related to productivity. So the higher the population, the more GDP, etc. But with AI plus robotics, or plus robots, that's going to change. Whichever country has the best economy or manufacturing and AI technologies, AI plus robots plus blockchain, they don't need that many people. So the productivity equation is going to change. So it's innovation that matters. In the future world, I think we can live a much more comfortable life with much less work, how we should be.
Yeah, I think there's this whole nexus of AI and crypto is very interesting. The other part of AI that people don't understand yet is if we're not careful, we're going to have 2 or 3 giants, and we need decentralization within that industry too. And I think blockchain plays a role in that. Have you any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So today, the big AI companies use our internet data to train their models, and that happens to be with a few large internet companies, Microsoft, Google, whoever else. But going forward, as I said before, there's a lot of data that we don't store. And now we're going to be smarter about how we store our data. So they should be stored in a permission way that we only allow access when we want to, and we should be able to monetize out of it. So your health data, you can be anonymized and then used to train different AIs. Every interaction you have, every thought you have, etc. If you want to, you should be able to digitize that, blockchain tokenize it, and then be able to monetize it. So in the future, I think and also we're seeing I think we'll give credit to the first few centralized platforms that have the scale to innovate. But once the industry is proven, then the decentralization will happen. We've seen that with DeepSeek. They open source their model, and now everyone can use that at a fraction of the cost. So I think we're going to see more and more of that coming. So I think the future is going to be quite decentralized.
Yeah, it's also interesting because crypto's the fastest moving industry most of us had ever seen until AI came along, and now it's multiplied the whole thing.
Yeah, so that's normal though. Every new industry is going to be faster than the previous one. So internet develops so much faster than traditional industries. But with blockchain now we have internet. So we can develop so much faster than internet companies. So I think Binance is probably the first company to reach $1 billion in profits, from startup to $1 billion in profit. But that's because we had the internet, and then we had the blockchain. And then AI companies are now post blockchain. So now, if they do it well, they can easily monetize. They can easily use distributed token economics, and they should be able to grow much faster.
Yeah, I think OpenAI got to 100 million users in 3 weeks or something stupid.
Yeah, a few days, yeah.
Unbelievable, unbelievable.
Raoul Pal considers the current status of blockchain and cryptocurrency, pointing out that we're still in the early phases despite all the hype. Trading still accounts for the majority of cryptocurrency activity today, but this indicates that there is a lot of potential still. According to him, decentralized social media, real-world asset tokenization, and particularly government applications represent the next major blockchain frontiers. For instance, he draws attention to the fact that property ownership records are frequently incomplete, even in developed countries like the United States and Japan, and how blockchain technology could improve these systems' security, liquidity, and transparency. Raoul also discusses the quick development of artificial intelligence and how it interacts with blockchain. According to him, artificial intelligence has surpassed cryptocurrency as the fastest-growing tech industry. But rather than endangering cryptocurrency, this change strengthens it. Together, artificial intelligence, robotics, and blockchain have the potential to fundamentally alter how economies operate by eliminating the need for sizable populations to boost output. The most important factor in this future will be invention rather than labor. Additionally, he issues a warning on the centralization of AI development. Raoul contends that the use of our data by large tech companies like Google and Microsoft to create enormous artificial intelligence systems needs to stop. In the future, people need to be the owners of their data, grant consent for its usage, and even use blockchain to make money off of it. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications if you thought his viewpoint was helpful so you don't miss any updates. We'd love to know what you think about the future of cryptocurrency markets, so please share your ideas in the comments section. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the next video.